I don't think I have current offset already. So I made a little file like the macros.cpp, and it gets stuck here on the one. This gets progressively more difficult. I don't even have a normal token here. No, that's just like impossible. Okay, what I want is to find this one now. I think that for that I need a source location that is beyond the one. So that I don't think there's anything. Well, there's a new line here. Okay, so anything that points to the new line here. That's line 2, column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So is there a 214 somewhere? I have already, or anything beyond it actually. I have a 3.9. But no, I need to do this at the moment that the BBB macro is defined, which is inside this function. So the identifier is a 2.9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is the B here. That is the macro name identifier. Yep. Location 2.9, end location. End location is 2.13. That is what I need or not? Line 10, 11, 12, 13. End location is the location of the last token. So it's still on top of the token. What if we have more than one character there? So let's just call this thing BBB. The end location is still 213. Wow. It's like literally the start of the last token. Okay, now I want to know if it's actually the last token. Well, it should be, but let's test it. That's 223. Yep, 23. So end location is not usable for the last token. Well, maybe it is. Let me think. I think it is. Probably it is. I can just do that for at least for every. For the gap, yeah. I can use it because the only thing I'm interested in is I even have the beginning of every token. I guess I just know that there can only be white space in between these things, because previously we had a problem that we did not have the location of the hash or even the define itself. So then I had to really look for it. But in this case we do have the location for the beginning of each token. So I can just process the space in between. Yeah. There is a little downside here, I think. I would have to I don't think I can continue until I actually print the data that we have for each token. So these strings we can't do this. Let's just print the actual tokens. The token iterator is I think a token pointer. Yup, I can print tokens. Although that's only going to print the identifier, I think. And the start. I need a length, but okay, let's try this first. Make. Cannot initialize a variable of type. Oh. Yeah, so that doesn't tell us very much. Just get that these are identifiers. And the beginning but yeah, I already processed identifiers. Maybe you should just treat them exactly the same way as how I process identifiers in the other case. For example, if I add an identifier here, which has a backslash new line in the middle, then we have here adding float add 1 1, but the string contains a backslash new line in the middle. And this is printed from add input token with a float. New token to add, float. This already knows it. Aha, token view. Oh yeah, I was using this. Now I know. Now I remember. Span. But wait a minute. No. Then the token length is already known. How do I know the token length? Oh, because it is bloody passed to me. So really, you need to know whether that call is being made. One of these. It's not a PP token though. Or this one. But. Oh, right. Stupid C-text doesn't understand. Okay, it vaguely comes back to me. So there is a add token with current location. That is the current location. Oh, right, yeah. I needed that, more or less. Well, not anymore, but current location is passed to add input token, and the talk is the thing that we lexed. I have to find where this is defined. That is this one, I think. That's a range. There's an offset. So it's this one. There we have it. Measure token length. Basically, I'm stupid. Well, yeah, bad memory. I just have to call this function repeatedly. This thing takes Clang tokens, which we have, and the location that I pass here then should be the location of that token, I suppose, yeah. It's not really the current location. It's more like the location of the token. Well, currently this is only called with the current location, but now I'm going to call it also with other locations, so it is more like the token location. Can I rename the other things as well? Yes. Let's call this one token duration. Right, so we don't want to get here actually, because that updates the last offset, or do we? It's kind of... I guess I kind of do. But yeah, they must be in increasing order. So we probably should check that you do not ever accidentally jump backwards in the code. I'm wondering if the equal sign makes sense or not. I think it does. Okay, so the thing I want to call is simply token location and then token. Translation unit add input token. This is not the file, right? This is not the file. And I can't find it back anymore, of course. Ah, try to remember it. Where was I editing? Events handler. So I have a translation unit, and that has an add input token. And I can pass the position of that token. The token, the location, that is the begin location, or get begin location. Nope. Well, something. And the token itself by reference. It's just get location, I think, for the token. This is simply a token. Get this one. See if that works. No, damn it. Well, that seems to have worked. So we add BBB. And then one white space, and then BBB1, one white space, BBB2, one white space, BBB3. And then we get a new line, hash, define, CCC, parenthesis open, which is, by the way, it's not a function, this one. It's just a part of the definition. So parenthesis open, CCC, parenthesis close, new line, hash, define, white space, DDD. And that's where we stop. Got markers.cpp. So in this, here we have an actual function. This is not a function. So these were 3 tokens. These were 3 tokens. And I do not process this yet. So we try to decode, I think, the space here at the start of D. But that notice that we did not just skip a space, we also skipped all of that. So the total skippage is all of the parameters and that space. And then it sees that it's not just white space, and therefore we have a problem. The reason being, of course, that this should have been processed before we got here. So all fine. I do want to test the... let's add a backslash new line here and there. Line. Now if that works, and the first one works as well, of course. Gotta do this. Stops at the same place. So I must work right. And let's see what it does. Hash define AAA. New line hash define BBB, BBB1, and then yeah, it just has a backslash new line inside of it, and then the BBB3. What is this? Then we get backslash new line. So it did not include that with the macro. Well, that's fine with me. Just define CCC, white space, parenthesis open, white space again, and then the CCC separately. And parenthesis close. Yeah, well, the white space did not cut through CCC, so why not? Just have the 3 tokens with white space in between. So the only token that got cut is the BBB2. Yeah. No, that just works. So now I have to do the function things. Let's see if we can detect that. already printed. Just look at what it actually prints. Yeah. Is function like is true. Good. So we could test that, and then number of parameters 1. So we do have a parameter list here, which might also be tokens. Not sure. That there we have the DDD. This parameter list is simply empty here, of course. Yep, let's edit this thing and put a backslash new line in the middle here. So the parameters still say that it is DDD. We don't see the backslash new line here. It exists here though. But if you get this as a token, then we can add it. Not sure anymore. You can run over all the parameters. Well, I would first have to find an opening parenthesis. Actually, it's not even allowed to have a white space between there. How do you do that? So if it is function-like, then we have to add an opening parenthesis, I guess. But it's not just any opening parenthesis. It's really part of the macro name. I think I'm just not storing it at all. Well, I don't know. We added a macro name, but if I add in my next token, I don't know, white space could be added in the middle, or it's getting hard to distinguish it. I think I need to make a difference between a macro with or without parameters. Oh, wait, there's another possibility. A thing that has parentheses but no arguments at all. Okay, it's still function-like. I think I'm going to make a difference between a macro with and without parentheses. Seems easiest. So the position of the opening parenthesis we no longer need, because that is just immediately after the name, the macro name. Yeah, I just need let's begin with having a loop. A loop that runs over all the arguments, if any at all. Yeah, do we have an iterator for that as well? But tokens iterator. Yeah, param iterator. Param begin, param end. And then we are running over all parameters. Yeah, I don't think it contains any information about possible backslash new lines. It's quite irritating. We can reparse it, but then it will not see that it is a macro parameter. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just an identifier anyway. So I could add it as an identifier. I don't have to add it, I just need a length, right? So I could do a call on that measure length thing. Instead of calling add input token. I don't even have a token anyway. No, actually, no. I have something better. I think I need a caret cons pointer. Yes. To the parameter name. Just call it name. I did have that. It's in the beginning of the actual null terminated string. That is exactly what we need. Yeah, more than get name, right? Yeah, no way I'm working with string ref. We have a get name start and a get length. Possibly, maybe. Oh, wait a minute. I think I need a string view. Implicit. Just form a string view. Yeah, I can convert it to a string view. So I could use get name and then convert that to a string view. I want to call process skip, I think, which takes an offset. Takes a character cons pointer. Whoops. Okay, never mind then. Let's just go over the character cons pointer. Yep, and then I want to call this function where we are looking for that name. And we use here as offset the param offset value, which would be the offset that this parameter occurs in the input buffer. So how do we get that? So my offsets are unsigned ints. Go back here again. So the only thing I have is an identifier info. The thing does not have a location at all. I think not. But. Yeah, I sorry, I don't need a location. What I need here is the end of the parameter list. So some offset that is large enough. So that would be something that is in the macro info object. Yeah, this end location is the last token. And what if we don't have tokens? Then maybe it points to the closing parenthesis, which would be completely fine. I mean, it's gonna point somewhere, right? Yep. So I need an answer. I need an answer to that, but I think at end location is going to work. End location calls on here it is, and then convert the whole thing to an offset, which is done here. Get file offset. And then the only thing that would be left here is the closing parenthesis. So you have to process that one as well. Wait a minute. This searches up till name. So the name itself we still have to add here, and then we can do the same thing with the closing parenthesis. Yeah, or not. Well, I didn't add the open parenthesis either. I think I need to add a closing parenthesis, otherwise we'll not know when this thing closes, and then might as well add the open parenthesis. Just add it. I mean, then I know for sure that there's no space between it. So let's add here an opening parenthesis. So I'm gonna add input token. Yeah, I could make it a PP token. Actually, it kind of is, right? Then I need a location that immediately follows that should be last offset. I think that is last offset. So you could make an add input token that simply concatenates immediately after last token, which then always should be a PP token, and I don't think I think it's just always going to be that parenthesis, macro parenthesis. So let's make up something like so it would not be a template. It is a void. Let's call it a pen token, pen input token. So we don't have an offset here because it just immediately follows the previous token. But I would have a token length, and of course the token itself. Let me define it here so I can still see it. Well, but actually it's not correct, I think. You can have, I mean, to append it, the right closing parenthesis. Because you can have white space before that one. For example, damn it. Yeah. If you have white space here, for example. Oh, wait a minute, this is not a function. Let's just add white space here. 2 white spaces. Not sure what that's gonna do. Yeah, well, I just, it's still a function, right? You're talking about E here. Is function like, even though there's spaces there. I don't think that's an error. Also, not sure if I ever want to have those spaces there, but you never know. Maybe some people actually want one space always. Actually, yeah. So this should not be append, it should be add. And then I need to use simply an offset, or yeah, no. I need to find the offset. I need to find it. That would be a process gap then. Which not, is that working? Yeah, yes. So I can do, actually I can do an append here, but after adding all white space until so I'm going to find the closing parenthesis. And then the offset here, it must be the current offset again. The last offset, I mean. No, that's nonsense. That is nonsense. That has to be something larger than the offset of the parentheses. So now this might not be sufficient. I have to test it though. I could simply do a param offset +1. Come on, let's not make it problematic. I think that if you do not find the closing parenthesis, then process gap is throwing, which is not really what I want, because this one, gap does not contain the required fixed string. I would rather have that we just never get here at all. That is, this should never be true if the closing parenthesis is missing. But I'm not sure if that is the case. And then what to do anyway in that case. Let me deal with that later. Normally this thing should be there, we find it, and we just append the function macro arc parent at that point, okay? I moved it outside of the for loop. Oh, it's just the wrong name. Get definition and location. Just call it end offset. To the equal added now. Shouldn't D have worked? Yeah, it's still progress because we just add the parentheses. So let's see if that happens then. So define is added and then white space EEE. Yeah, function macro L parent is added. And 2 white spaces and a closing parenthesis. Totally worked. So then what goes wrong here? We get 2 new lines, hash define DDDD. With an immediate left parenthesis. Oh, I forgot to add actually add them. Aha, yeah. Okay. So this just adds a possible white space. But now we still have to add the thing itself. So now you have to figure out the oh, I get that here. Haha. You get it. So this would be the param offset and the param length. And then we still have to add it though. So translation unit, I could use a pint if you're really lazy, because yeah, we are really at that point now. And then know the length. Yeah, like that. And probably have to deal with commas as well. Hmm. Still not added. Yeah, it seems that process gap is not working as I expected, or just not working. I'm calling process gap, looking for the DDD, and I think it should find that, even though there is a backslash new line in the middle. Why would it not find it? I'm too lazy to look at this. Let me just debug it. Let's debug it. History grab TDB. Breakpoint was set. I'm just going to put a breakpoint in like there, or not. Well, yes. It's going to be called a billion times though. You have to go to the point that this is being printed. That is already function macro L parent. Or did it happen before? It must be the L parent of DDD. Right now we are at AAA. Now append is only called, more or less only called for. This is to continue. DDD. So now we are there, opening parenthesis for DDD. And then what happens? Then we want a breakpoint in here, process gap. Let's see, this is last offset. I think last offset would be this should correspond with the first D. Current offset is the same, right? Ooh, 110. Right. Oh no, just yeah, anything that's large enough. Put it somewhere at the end of the definition, +1, right? Next. So yeah, that is the DD with the backslash new line in it. We are looking for any. We are looking for the first D. So we're just looking for any. If this is a space or backslash new line, well, it's not. We're looking for more white space, nope. If this a slash, no. Are we looking for a fixed string, and is this equal to the first character of that fixed string? Yes, this should be a yes. Fixed string is DDD, and C is still. Fuck, I'm typing a C there. No. How is that equal to D? This condition, let's put a condition on 4. Sorry, this is breakpoint 5. I should have set a condition on 5. I don't need 4. Oh, it's the D of a define. Arg. Nou ja. I think we are back. So the fixed string is this. So obviously this is true, right? Because print C is a D. And fixed string was DDD, so this is also a D. Totally true. Next. 145. Fixed string length is something. And fixed string length is 3. If fixed string length is 1, we already found it, but no, we don't yet. But we did find a fixed string. Looking for more fixed string. Expected is fixed string at j equals 1. So next, expected is a D again. And now what? Now we get following. Next, token start is gap start plus I. I is 1. I is 0. Oh no, we remember the token start. Sorry, yeah, that's correct. Looking for is not an error. Go to the top. Now I is 1. So now we get a backslash. And looking for is more fixed string. Oh, yeah, that's stupid. It does demands that C equals expected, otherwise we have an error. That's not true. So I have to add a code here that looks for a backslash new line. If C equals expected, then plus plus J equals, if this equals fixed string length minus 1, standard pair, also the result, token start, blah blah blah, okay. No, line 172. So else if C equals backslash stuff, which is going to be a lot like what we already did before, of course. See that. So we find the backslash. This is not a space, but it is a backslash. And the next character is a new line. Ah, yeah, right. And then I just continue. So then the next new line, we find the new line next. Not sure if I can do that now. Probably not. So if C is backslash and I is less than the gap length minus 1 and the gap text I plus 1 is a new line, then we saw a backslash new line. And in that case I want to accept it, eat it, not increment J. But we have to set C. No, we don't have to set C. That also is expected. I mean, but expected just remains the same thing. J is not changed. I have to increment I. Not sure if I can do that. So we do a break then. Go outside of the thing here. This is not true. Do we go here? Plus plus I. Yeah, why not? Oh, that's the only reason I wasn't incrementing it here is because here we need I still. Because we run out of here and then we do gap start plus I. But that is not the case here, therefore we can just do plus plus I. It finished successfully. So now we have adding the macro, DDD, opening parenthesis, and then the first parameter, which includes a backslash new line in the middle. And then the closing parenthesis, white space, E. Yeah, okay. Um, it's actually not true. White space is not allowed, but the backslash new line is removed as the very, very first step. So you can still have a backslash new line there, which I just treat as white space. Ugh. I should not have done that then, because in this case, white space is not allowed. Which means that if you put a backslash new line there, things will go wrong. No, actually, the backslash new line is, well, I'm not treating backslash new line as white space. I'm allowing backslash new lines to be in the middle of anything, as they should. So, if I'm trying to append the L parent here, it probably should add the backslash new line as a part of this thing, either here or in the macro name. Makes more sense to do it here, I suppose. Yeah, therefore, this one is not correct. The one should be the length that I get back from searching for the L parent. Ugh. So I can do a process gap here, but the only thing that is allowed in this gap is backslash new line. So maybe you should use a different function name or specialize it. Here, maybe? It's not even a gap actually. There should not be a gap. I'm going to call it differently. Or maybe I can make it part of append. That makes more sense. So I'm trying to append something here, and then if it turns out that I don't know. I think I need something like process gap, more like eat / new lines or something like that. Process / new lines. Yeah, it's hardly process though. This thing doesn't even add anything. The point being that I might as well put this at the top of the append input token. If it works like this without passing anything. Okay, so we need, append input token should start with eating any / new lines. Let it fail though first. So let's compile this. So currently is not failing. So I predict that it fails if there is a / new line right there. What happens? It did just skip it, and then add the R parent. Excuse me. Yeah, there can be white space here. That's nonsense. I meant here before the opening brace, so we can even do that here. So if there is white space in between it, then it will think that it is not a function. And / new line is probably going to be treated as white space. So it will think that this is not a function. While it is. That is what should go wrong. It actually did stop completely. Oh, because I was told that it is a function. Yeah. No, correct. So this is just adding the backslash, expecting an opening parenthesis, and that's inside append input token. Probably should check that there is an opening parenthesis at that point. But yeah, only backslash new lines can occur, if you ask me. Pinned input token. Let's separate it out though. So this is the beginning here. Now I want to skip or eat all the backslash new lines. Yeah, that's it. So you need an eat backslash new lines function that returns the number of backslash new lines that it can find. No, the number of characters, or 2 times the number of backslash new lines. Starting at last offset. Without changing last offset though. It's not really eating it in. Count. Yeah, let's not separate it out. I'm just gonna count it. Okay, how do I get access then to the source file? I guess source file is a source file. I need access to the memory buffer at a given position. That would be peak, right? I need a character const pointer though first. Peak returns a position after the character after position. Not even using peak yet, actually. It's a bit scary. Anyway, let's remove the whole peak. A second ago, here it is. Peak. Yeah, how undefined behavior is this? I mean, nobody's going to call this with the token length less than 0. And we are assuming that that exists. Therefore, you can always look ahead. Say even, well, yeah. It could be backslash. I mean, this thing, the token just is there. So if there is a big backslash instead of the token, then there must be at least one other character. Because the token still has to come. The problem here would be if we are completely at the end of the buffer, there is a backslash, nothing else behind it, and still we are calling this function thinking that there should be something else, which is never going to happen. Let it crash. I mean, really. So in this case we did find an okay, now the story is changing a tiny little bit, not that much. If we find a backslash new line, then yeah, okay. Well, theoretically, you could have something with a lot of backslash new lines on a row now. So then the current would be incremented seriously. Would you ever run out of the buffer? I guess theoretically I would have to check that, right? So I need an end iterator of the source file. I think I have that. You have an end here. Absolutely insane to use that, but okay. Now I have to test it every... Oh, you gotta be kidding me, right? Hello, automotive enthusiasts. Try what? Well, current unequal end, even that doesn't work theoretically, does it? Yeah, I've been coding in assembly in my youth. I think I passed that. At least this asserts. So position is less than get buffer end here. Probably should throw instead though. Current is at maybe we should abort as soon as last offset becomes equal to end. We should already have aborted and therefore never come here. So the initial time, I don't have to check this. But it would still be possible that what is left now is a one backslash new line. And then nothing else, so no. Then you have to check it anyway if you return to the top of the loop. Actually, they're probably worth to throw here. Is a backslash and then an opening parenthesis allowed? I never tried that. Not really much macros here. Most are test files. This is a real file though. But guess this macro is being used. So the question is it allowed to put a backslash here? Nope. I'm building a C++ formatter. So this is allowed, right? And this is not allowed. Okay. Wrong file. Also the wrong file. I'm already editing that, I think. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, okay. So basically, no checking at all here. I would just eat it. Well, we don't go past end, but even if current equals end, then we just continue here and then do something that's not allowed. But that would be for the first time. And if we enter the loop, then this also makes sure that current is not equal end. But it kind of has to be guaranteed that we even have token length characters left from the current point. But I guess the span is testing that. Well, with an assert. So that's slightly dubious. Assert is not in production code. And I think you can violate this by just giving it a source file that is uncompilable, right? I'm not very sure about that though. Can test that too. Yeah. Yeah, so this backslash new line here now works. As in, we add EEE and then we add backslash new line parenthesis open. I have to admit though that it seems a bit annoying that this thing appears as the first thing in this token. That has never happened before, because then it would be treated as white space. Yeah, I can take it into account, or maybe I should add it to the previous token, to the macro name. Here. Yeah, the same thing there. I mean, normally backslash new lines only go in the middle, never at the beginning or the end. And then it would be just, then they are added to the white space. So it's just here because it's at the beginning because there is no white space allowed. And even if I add it here at the end, then it's at the end because no white space is allowed. So either works, I suppose. No. What shall we do? Ja, commas. Seriously. You can also have a trailing comma, I think. Or not. Which I'll take that, include that immediately. Yeah, so after the comma, it expected an identifier. There was a trick to do this though. So the comma pasting thing. I forgot how that worked. I think it was in the comments, so. Yeah, do you have to put that behind it? There's still something else though. But yeah, well, why would you have a trailing comma unless you have a var args? I believe, I mean, normally you would say you have a token and then a comma and then var args. But that means that you have at least one token. There is a problem with that. Or not. Damn it, what was the problem? The problem is that you get a comma too much, and then they invented this double hash here trick to get rid of that extra comma. I'll just ask AI. Those things have better memory than me. Yeah, okay, now I get it. So this already uses the dot dot dot, obviously, and then you have to use that not not as a parameter, but where it is replaced. And then you have this comma here. So now you have the problem that is if the dot 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 is empty, then you end up with a trailing comma. As it is explaining it here. So then you add the double hash here. And then the compiler would say, okay, if this is empty, then we remove the comma as well. So now you end up with just that. After the format, you immediately get closing parentheses. But that is no longer necessary since C++20 apparently, because we now have VA opt. Non-standard. This double hash VA args behavior is not part of standard C or C++ preprocessor specification. It's a widely supported extension, primarily found in GCC and Clang. Using it might make your code less portable to compilers that strictly adhere to the standard. Some version of BARF, though recent versions, often support it for compatibility. The standard C++ solution, VA opt. C++ introduced a standard portable way to handle this. VA opt. VA opt x expands to x if the variable argument list is not empty, and expands to nothing if it is empty. Yeah, okay, why not? I mean, if you use a dot dot dot, then you have an to your disposal VA args, and now also VA opt. So if this is empty, then this is empty, and if this is not empty, then this is whatever this is. Totally makes sense. You can probably put it anywhere and even repeat it a few times. So it's not even a standard C++, and you don't need it anymore since 2020. But this is a thing apparently. Yeah. Does my formatter want to support it? Not really. Not really, really. I mean, if ever anyone is going to help me with this, contribute, then they can contribute and support for it. In other words, we do not have. This is not legal, what I'm trying here. It's just pure bullshit. That should work though. And then we can do VA opt. Oh, what the hell? Like that. VA opt plus VA args, which then allows me to add one element or not to add one element. Yeah, this, let's replace this with 2 and 3. So the first one is ignored, and then if there is a fourth one, then it's added as well. And if there is not a fourth one, then we just get that. So it kind of makes sense even. Okay, yeah, the problem here is the comma. So clearly I just have to process the comma between every macro function macro argument, if there is more than one. I think that comma is also a given. There's no way you can have another macro argument if there is not a comma. But yeah, then we need to know if this was the last argument or not. Gonna do this. I could get a number of elements and then count down or something, but this seems easier. Terminate if this was the last parameter. Yeah. Yeah, maybe not. This looks so silly. Is there a way to get the number of things like quickly? Num-params. Get num-params. Then the number of parameters this function must have base function type. This is the length of the param info array. Why I'm looking at the wrong header. Next. Here we are. Get num-params. And that's all nice, but then I want to be able to get the parameter given a index. Get param num. Return the parameter number. No. Maybe this one. Just get something, a reference to an array. Yeah, that's probably how to do it. Using these two. What do you think? Parameter list. Definitely. There's nothing else. So you don't get underflow here, because if the number of parameters is 0, then we already quit here, so we never get there. And if it is 1, then we can subtract 1. And then this means that if we return to top of loop, then after increment param, it is still less than number of parameters. So yeah, basically a not. And then we can here process a possible comma. Possible, there must be a comma now. And that comma can be prepended with white space, but yeah, that should be handled automatically by my add input token. So I'm gonna call this and then some location, God knows where. Hi AG. Translation unit, add input token. But what follows? Just a macro. Persistent token. Macro comma or something. The offset. It's just the current offset, right? Da-dum, da-dum, da-dum. Yeah, I'm gonna do that differently. You can use append. Do the same trick as this. But +1 is not necessary here. So this just adds all white space until it encounters a comma. And then it returns, and then we add that comma. Which now we can append, because, yeah, well, we are exactly at the comma. The cap was already processed. I'm feeling like combining these two though. Seems to make more sense. We're already using it 4 times. Oh yeah, but this one must be called without the calling process gap. So I cannot really combine that there. The rest does, however. think I'm going to combine them. So in this case, it's just a different function because you have not the same parameters. That is, I'm going to change the parameters here. So instead of param length, we have passed the string name. Makes sense, right? So this is now part of the append input token. If the first argument is a character const pointer instead of an unsigned integer. Was it called exact string? I forgot that again. Damn it. Nope. Then what was it called? Something with exact. Ugh. Double ugh. Should make a mark over this to just grab my own sources. Nope. Then it was called differently. Fixed string instead of exact string. Okay, I'll leave it that. Is it then offset? So this adds all the white space till it finds that fixed string, and then it adds this fixed string as that being that token. But at this point I already know the length. It's kind of a waste. Token length has to be passed, not offset. Yeah, of course. Nonsense. Length. It's called token length. Might as well call this also token then. Token offset. Token length. And then we need the end offset. And then with the end offset, I just pick the end of the whole bloody buffer. Source file dot something. And that is a character const pointer. Process gap. Oh, offset. What? Offset. So that is basically just size then. And now I'm converting size to offset. Is this really true? I think so. Yeah, the size was 0. Okay. Just, yeah, but still. So the size of a size type. My offsets are unsigned ints, which are super small. So we throw away a lot, which of course works, but content, memory buffers, even an int, unbelievable. Now here's the size type. So random. Probably a size type. Okay, mostly a size type. Yeah, I want to interpret it as an offset here. I think it's time to introduce a new type actually. Type for the offset. I'm using unsigned int everywhere. That is so vague. So I'm gonna call this offset type. Which then I could make an element of Probably you have to put translation unit in front of this. But okay, let's see. Token start. Process gap. Token start not even defined. Eventually that is set to gap start plus I, and gap start is gap start, gap start, gap start, gap start. An offset type. Okay, so it is an offset. I is not an offset. Gap length is also not an offset. That will give a lot of compile errors. But sometimes I just want the satisfaction of fixing a compile error, so I leave them in. Append input token does not match any declaration. Okay, that one was not intended. So just make this inline, kind of. Yeah, move it inline. What am I doing exactly? How exactly? Writing a C++ formatter. It's currently splitting up the source code into tokens. With information. It's what it is. And I forgot what I was doing. Oh wait, actually I still know. this is no longer an append because we do process white space. And just do it in add, make it an add. Add expected fixed string as token. Just add. Yeah, something like that. There's the offset type here. I don't see it. Oh, it is here. Do I also need to add it here? I still don't know. Damn it. Apparently not. And again we are here. And nobody knows how I got there. I must have clicked on the wrong thing. Yeah, I copied this. Unknown type name offset type. And there is no offset type to be seen on that line. Or is there? Or there should be. Yeah, what? Oh, there is. Oh. I just didn't see it. And this is outside translation unit? No, it's not. We're totally inside translation unit. We totally have an offset type. Oh, but we don't have an offset. Offset T. Offset type. Unknown. Yeah. Use undeclared identifier info thingy. It's defining Clang. Interaction requires pointer operands. Oh, yeah. You switch to an integer. So now we have an array called params. Params param. And that should be a pointer, I think. Yeah, the thing contains pointers. Cannot initialize a parameter of type size type from char calls pointer. Yeah, because it isn't called append anymore, it is called add. And the only append that is left is here. And I forgot to add the macro comma. Function macro comma. Don't forget it. Well, maybe I should call it a function macro comma, because yeah, that's what I initially did. Function macro comma. Macro name. Ugh. Did you mean macro name? No. What about, did you mean function macro comma? It's totally existed. You did add a comma, yeah? Oh yeah, it can't process the dot dot dot. Why not? I guess if this is set, then I have to expect a dot 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 as last parameter. And the parameter list actually includes it, but as that, not as dot dot dot. Is poisoned, is set. Needs handle identifier. Help. What does that even mean? I'm afraid I have to stop. I have to go eat and then go to the chess club. Yeah, right. What the hell is the difference between the two? Oh. You cannot have a standard C function declared as C function. We talk about macros. Yeah. Huh? I think we are not on the same page here. Okay, so let's... Yeah, but then I would only use that inside the definition of it. Not here. Dan er is no comma here. R dot dot. What the hell? No, say I'm now a little bit confused or something with templates because definitely new to me. Yeah, new, completely new. Maybe he doesn't know. Or we can play with it. See if it works. Yeah, it might. If it sees this and maybe it thinks, well, that's not new or something. Let's make a new one. So this is not allowed. I just get the same problem. It doesn't know what a dot 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 even means. Okay, so that is what it means. That you have a dot 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 directly appended to a variable. To the last variable, probably. Yeah, and so on and so on and so on. I'm gonna eat. I'll be back tomorrow. This evening is going to be too late to stream again.